Those who have received RIF notices, they can't prepare for their terminations because the human resource staff can't help them get fired. They're also furloughed. So you can't fire them because the shutdown and they need services to get fired before they're walked out the door?
The magnitude of their demands is madness. And so we're trying to get that out to the American people. And I think they will start to bite, unfortunately, in the days ahead. But thankfully, we've paid for the military, law enforcement, and border, and they'll get their paychecks.
Illegally ruled that the administration and the president does not have the right to fire executive branch employees. And the Supreme Court smacked this judge down in July.
A Clinton judge now thinks she's running the country, deciding that the executive branch can't fire people in the executive branch. And an Article 3 judge has more power than the president. I know, we're very used to this scam. This time, this one's brought by this woman, Susan Ilston, a federal judge in the Northern District of California, appointed by Bill Clinton, who is now saying that the government shutdown RIFs have to be paused, stayed. Trump can't do it. So, of course, this is going to be appealed. We're going to have to battle this out back and forth for a while. We got reaction on this from Russ Vought and more from Caroline Levitt. But let's go through the latest on the decision. There were proceedings on a motion for a temporary restraining order. And of course, this judge has granted it in favor of the unions. And so as usual, we see the unions, the AFL-CIO are out. And these are the people who say that they're civil servants and they are really happy to work as public servants for America. And this is like their lifelong passion, you know, their career civil servants and all the things. And then when you try to fire them because you're like, hey, our country's broke, we can't afford to pay you anymore, just like any other business in the planet has to accomplish, we can't afford you. I like you. I wish I could afford you, but I can't keep you here because we're broke. Okay, everybody has to have that conversation. But if you're a federal judge, you can stop the executive branch from doing that because you want to keep these people who should not be here. They're on the low end of the totem pole in terms of priority. You might disagree with that judgment, but that's not your judgment to make. That's the executive branch's judgment to make, and the president did that. But the judge has come down and she issued this order, and let's see what is inside. I am sure this will be appealed immediately. And like a lot of the other cases that we've seen, the president can fire people. Okay, everybody has been fired other than Lisa Cook right now, who are just kind of, the Supreme Court kicked that one down the road for a little bit. But I think that's probably coming soon too. The executive branch runs the executive branch. Federal judge telling him you can't fire anybody is an Article 2 conflict, and we're excited to see where it goes. So here we got on October 10th, what happened is this judge says a beautiful thing. Federal agencies began laying off thousands of employees in the middle of a government shutdown. Let's go. Good start. This is unprecedented in our country's history. Nobody's been fired before. The president has publicly stated that it's going to be a lot, and they will be Democrat oriented because we figure, you know, they started this thing, so they should be Democrat oriented. Well, of course, why would he fire people that are in furtherance of his policies? It's his executive branch. He can fire whomever he wants. What is becoming more clear is that RIFs are not just ordinary RIFs, says this judge, Clinton judge in California. Based on the record before the court, some employees do not even know if they are being laid off because RIF notices were sent to government email accounts and furloughed employees can't get their emails. So she's just going to come in and be like, Judge Mom, really watch. Those who have received RIF notices, they can't prepare for their terminations because the human resource staff can't help them get fired. They're also furloughed. So you can't fire them because the shutdown and they need services to get fired before they're walked out the door. One union president representing the workers for CDC described how human resources staff were brought back into the office to work on issuing RIF notices. And once they completed the work, they were told to issue RIF notices to themselves. Oh my gosh, that's like digging your own grave. That is just amazing. You know, like you've seen that in the movies, like start digging your grave because we're just going to put you right in there. They brought them back in. I need you to fire everybody. And then when you're done, fire yourselves and get out. Love it. I just love it. Unions are hearing from members who have serious health conditions or in the late stages of pregnancy and who worry their health insurance will be impacted by the RIFs. I know. It's like everybody has to care for these government civil servants. Nobody cares about anybody else who's in the private sector who got used and abused for years back during COVID. Nobody cared. Shut your business down, okay? You're non-essential. Give me a break. You got health conditions? We've all got health conditions, okay? Got to figure it out. You're not entitled to a job and being coddled on the way out indefinitely. A lot of people show up to work and get fired on that day. They got to figure it out. Lots of people have gone through that experience. Why do these people get coddled and protected by these federal judges who worry that their health insurance will be impacted? But there is no one in the office who can answer their questions during the shutdown. We can answer your question. The answer is no. Whatever you need or whatever you want, no, it's not available to you. Go figure it out somewhere else. That's the answer. It's also far from normal for an administrator. Again, nobody cares what you think is normal, Judge. Trump is not like all of the other presidents. That doesn't make it illegal for an administration to fire line-level civilian employees as a way to punish punish the opposing political party. It's not far from normal. Are you nuts? It happens every administration. That's what happens in the executive branch. Everybody comes in to replace everybody who's going out. Happens every cycle, Judge. But this is precisely what Trump is doing. He said, I have a meeting with Russ Vought of Project 2025. These are all scams. Yeah, these are Democrat agencies. They come in, they flood the zone with a bunch of Columbia professors. He wants them to be cut, and I can't believe that they're giving me this unprecedented opportunity. Yeah, he can't pay them. She's citing his own post. Okay, so this isn't just a liberal judge who is just very mad that he's exercising power in a way that she does not like. The memo from the OMB, writes this judge, yeah, they're firing people. And so she goes through, these plaintiffs are labor organizations, and they represent federal civilian employees. Wow. They move for a TRO to stop the firings. Can you imagine if you could do this in your private business? Imagine if you're an employer. Your employee's like, sorry, I got a federal judge. You can't fire me. You have to keep me here. What kind of country is this? They move for a TRO. A party may seek a temporary restraining order and more. Now, the court finds that the unions win. We've reviewed all the filings, including the briefs and the declarations from all these crying employees, and heard argument from both sides during a hearing yesterday. And this court is satisfied that the unions have standing to pursue these claims because they can't go anywhere else. And their claims are ripe for review. And we're not persuaded that Trump can do this because we don't know what you can do or may not do during a shutdown. And so you're misconstruing their case. They're suing to stop. They say this is unlawful agency actions under the APA. Give me a break. Everybody's filed under these claims. They've all been thrown out, and Trump can fire people. He runs the executive branch. A temporary restraining order is appropriate because they're going to win under the APA. No, they're not. If what plaintiffs allege is true, then agencies' actions in laying off thousands of employees and in targeting them is the epitome of hasty, arbitrary, and capricious decision-making. No, it is not. It's absolutely necessary. And they're not doing it quickly. I mean, they had to wait for the funding to come back. It hasn't come back. It's a matter of necessity. It's not arbitrary. It's not capricious. There's no money. The many snafus that they detail in their papers, some of which are outlined above, are a testament to this. All they're crying, we had no idea it happened so quickly. Welcome to reality. That happens. Sometimes the business loses a contract. Everybody's got to go. In addition, they're also going to win, saying that the RIFs are based illegally. In particular, the memo announces that, well, if we're not statutorily required to fund these things, then they're gone. They say that a memo essentially seeks to overturn the mandates that Congress has put in place. And at the hearing, they didn't want to answer some questions, saying we're not going to address the merits on this today, but the rest of the factors weigh in favor of relief. Here you go. The plaintiffs, the union people, now face loss of income. Okay, they can go file claims for wrongful termination and get back pay. They're not entitled to their position in perpetuity. We've covered this many times before. Dellinger and others who've been fired have all said, I'm going to lose everything. I'm going to lose my reputation and all possible relocation from their homes. Again, welcome to reality. Going to lose healthcare. All irreparable harm if they do not receive immediate relief. And that's just not true. It's monetary damages. They can be recompensated for their monetary damages. Indeed, the harm in this case is distinct because some people don't even know they're being riffed. Well, they're going to find out real quickly. The harms suffered by them are drastic. There are imminent public consequences. And so to preserve the status quo, we're going to make it pause so that Trump cannot do this. It's hereby ordered that all of the Trump agencies are hereby enjoined from taking any action to riff employees, taking any action to implement any of the riffs that you've already conducted. And you got to give us an update on anything that's actual or imminent by Friday of this week. And this is so pathetic too. These judges, I can't take it. They should be impeached. And for bad behavior and for abuse of office, you want to call it a crime or a misdemeanor, the court will now require them to post a nominal bond of $10, okay? Not per plaintiff, $10 total to secure the judgment. So we got to keep these people and continue to pay them with money we don't have. And they got to put up $10. That's their skin in the game, $10. The court denies the request for a stay and get us your papers due here in October, signed by Susan Ilston, who is, of course, a Clinton appointed judge and out there who had worked with Boxer Feinstein and is now in the Northern District of California. So that's happening right now. We see Russ Vought was talking about what's happening here. I think this was slightly before this order came down, but here is what OMB is saying out there about all this.
The people that are doing essential services are not getting paid. So you may have border patrol, you may have air traffic control, the military, obviously, although we're fixing that by playing budgetary twister to find a pot of money that has this purpose that we can pay them. Mm-hmm. And so it does have an impact on how long this can go without having severe repercussions. And we don't want air traffic control to start staying home sick. So we want to get out of the shutdown. We want to do what's necessary to get the government open. We've put forward a very simple proposition, which is continue at current levels, and which is a CR. And they have put put forward $1.5 trillion in demands. I mean, they said, all right, the entire title of the One Beautiful Bill has to be repealed. And then we want all manner of expansions to continue to Biden healthcare policy that have largely been riddled with fraud. And they said they also want us to repeal our rescissions, which would get us back in the public broadcasting business with Corporation for Public Broadcasting. And they want us back in the foreign aid business so that we essentially reopen USAID. And so the magnitude of their demands is madness. And so we're trying to get that out to the American people. And I think they will start to bite, unfortunately, in the days ahead. But thankfully, we've paid for the military, law enforcement, and border, and they'll get their paychecks.
Good stuff from Russ Vought, OMB. And they are moving money around. We talked about this on the members only stream this morning, that the DOD, the military, and the FBI are going to be getting paid. They move some money around to make that happen. But here's Caroline Leavitt responding to this judge saying this is completely ridiculous. The president runs the executive branch. He can fire people if he has a need to do that.
Well, the White House believes this, John, because it's just the truth. The president is the head of the executive branch, and therefore he has the right to hire and fire executive branch employees. And unfortunately, the administration has taken the tough step to lay off thousands of workers across the federal government because the Democrats have selfishly chosen to shut our government down in the name of partisan politics. And now you have this far left district court Democrat appointed judge who literally just uses politics from the bench and has no legal rationale for this nationwide temporary restraining order. And she is now blocking the administration from doing what the Supreme Court has already affirmed the president of the United States can do. In fact, this very same judge out of liberal San Francisco in May illegally ruled that the administration and the president does not have the right to fire executive branch employees. And the Supreme Court smacked this judge down in July. She is wrong. She is doing this for political reasons. And the Democrats know that they can judge shop, they can court shop, they can go to this woman because she is a far left hack and she uses politics from the bench. We are very confident we are going to win this temporary restraining order, and the Trump administration will continue to try to fight through this shutdown and get the government back open so we can get people back to work. All right.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Caroline's amazing. And she's exactly right that this is going to be an ongoing battle with these judges. They're going to try to buy them some additional time, right? If they can extend this out, don't fire them for the next 2 weeks. Maybe the government reopens. Then we go back to court. The judge says, well, okay, I'm going to lift up my injunction now. And I'm just going to hold them like in this, little zone of purgatory, probation, until the government opens back up. Then we'll just kind of shove them all back in there and the firings won't happen. So happy to see the administration is all over it, calling this judge a political hack. Yeah, Congress needs to wake up and also see what's happening here. Call them in for questioning, subpoena the federal judges, and ask them about their understanding about nationwide injunctions and Article 2 powers under the executive branch. They won't be able to answer it. And when they do, Congress can make decisions about that, whether they're acting in good behavior or bad behavior, and whether they should be removed from their seats. We're going to keep our eye on this one, my friends. Thank you for joining and subscribing as we do.